Gina, so much for our cold open.
No joke. It's going to be a hot one.
It's so hot, my sweat is sweating.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I can do that. It's so hot, even my shadow says, nope, not today.
It's so hot, the AC is charging rent.
Oh, that's a good one. Wait. It's so hot, my drink ordered an umbrella. Stay cool, listener.
It's The Riveted with Chris and Gina. Gina, we have our hands full this morning.
I'm telling you what, this is like a Tasmanian devil has run through here.
We have such a fun guest this morning. We are still at top of Georgia Airstream Park, and there's a rally going on this weekend. And but we've rallied with her one other time just about a month ago. But this fun woman is world famous.
World famous. I love it.
Everybody knows her.
I could bottle her energy.
Oh, my
she
gosh.
has so much energy.
It is something else. If you've ever been in a rally or a campground or anything and seen her rig and her setup and stuff, you know exactly who we're talking about.
Well, what's her rig's name?
Well, she's going to tell us all about it.
Oh,
but
okay.
All I know is that when you see it rolling in, it just looks happy.
It is happy. It just makes you feel good. It makes you smile.
Yes, and you'll never meet a more positive, energetic person.
Yes.
And we're just glad to have her on the podcast. Her name is Melia Jacobs.
Woohoo, Melia.
And she's from the wonderful state of Georgia, which is where we are right now.
Yes.
And welcome to The Riveted with Chris and Gina.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are so glad you're here.
Yes, we're glad that you're here. Glad you're glad. And this is going to be a fun little chat.
Chat.
Yeah.
I like how you emphasize chat.
Well, you know, I mean, it's probably going to be, chat doesn't even describe it right. This conversation is going to be, who knows where it's going to go.
We have no idea.
Because
and that's the beauty of this whole podcast. We never know where it's going to go.
When you chat with Melia, listener, that chat could go on for an hour. And you might talk about 10 or 15 different subjects in that little bit of time.
Yeah, that's okay. I like that.
Listen to her giggle.
I know.
See, just the giggle enough is enough.
So listener, we are going to take pictures of us sitting here today doing this podcast because I want everyone to see the cute little outfit that she has on. She is definitely flamingoing today.
Yeah,
I love it.
It is great.
It's a little flamingo.
I love it.
Well,
you're so cute.
Melia, we've not known you that long, but I think there's lots and lots of friends that we have that have known you much longer. So we're glad to now
finally meet you.
Hang and meet you and just be part of your world. So thanks for being on the podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to be here. I feel like I'm captive sitting in here inside the rig and.
Because we got the mic in front of you. We got the door shut.
The door's closed. Air conditioner's off. Don't move till we're done.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, so
there are no straps. So let's just clarify. We do not have her strap down.
Yeah. She's doing this on her own free will.
Yes, she is.
I'm excited to be able to talk to y'all. I see y'all around, and we've got mutual friends, and I've been able to spend some time with y'all now this week.
Yep.
Since this sister rally's been going on, so it was kind of a natural thing to be able to spend some time with y'all in this environment, and
this is great.
We can get to know each other.
Cool.
So we were in Shining in Shelby with Melia. What was that, about 3 weeks ago? Something like
it's about 3 weeks.
A month ago.
Was exactly.
This weekend.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was.
God, time goes so fast.
It was.
But that's where we first met you, and I think you pulled in to our staging site before we went in, the next morning, late at night.
It was late.
Yes.
In the middle of a thunderstorm.
But I'm telling you, when you pulled in, of course, we have these wraparound windows up front. When you pulled in, I'm like, Chris, look at this rig. It is too cute.
It is.
Like, I love it. Like, the whole truck and rig, everything. It does.
And then the next, it was kind of crappy weather that night, and everybody was kind of sequestered in their rigs.
We were panicking, thinking hailstorm was coming.
But
hell no.
But then the next morning, we we're all getting ready to leave to go parade in for the rally because it was an urban rally. And Melia was hitched up in her truck, windows rolled down, music blaring, singing. The truck was bouncing from her dancing in the driver's seat. And
she was having a blast.
We were singing the Miranda Lambert Airstream song.
Yeah, she was ready to
We're
go.
ready to parade.
Yeah.
We were doing it.
Carlton was singing.
That was that was a fun morning.
Was that like a...
Yeah, he was.
So we want you to describe all about your Airstream life so far, but we're talking about your rig you've got right now because it's very unique, very recognizable and that kind of stuff. But we always like to kind of start with this podcast by asking like what your entry point to the Airstream lifestyle was. I mean, everybody at some point in time in life is like, who has an Airstream now, they say, I think I might want to get an Airstream. And like from that point on is kind of how we like start the chat. And then after that, we just kind of, however it goes. But so
what was my why?
Yeah. Or why? That's a good point.
What was my why?
Yeah. Any of that.
So I was engaged in 2014, and I'm going to keep this light, but I'm going to tell you this is why.
No,
I'm
let
doing
us
what
know.
I'm doing.
We like this.
My fiance committed suicide.
Oh, no.
And this was a dream that we had together.
Okay.
And we had a condo in Florida, down on the beach. Everything was great. And that's what we said we were going to do. We were going to Airstream. We wanted to travel when we retire.
Yes. Now, whenever you say that, was it like we're going to move out of the condo and go full time? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So we were just going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I woke up and I was by myself.
Wow.
And it took me till 2017 to get my act together.
Sure.
So, what am I going to do now?
Yes.
I'd raised my daughter, and what am I doing? And I had a very active paddleboarding community that I hung out with. I ran 8 to 10 large stand-up paddleboard races across the country, traveled all the time, flew everywhere.
Is that?
Oh, yeah, it was a blast. Hawaii twice a year. It didn't suck.
Wait. So people actually race standing up on these paddle boards?
Oh, yeah. I still have 3 races a year that I don't participate in them. I run the logistics for the directors. Volunteers. It's a whole nother life that the Airstreaming world doesn't even know about.
Right.
But it warranted me the opportunity to be able to, because I had a paddleboard I had to carry with me. I had to have a truck. Well, why would you not have an Airstream at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking. I probably looked for 3 years, but I wanted something that I could maintain, low maintenance, on my own, be able, if I had a flat tire on the side of the road, that I was able to take care of it on my own, and me and Coach Net,
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just started looking, and I bought a little baby 19-foot Airstream from a guy in Pensacola, 30 minutes from where the condo was, and there it was. That was it. I mean, pulled it back. Had never pulled anything other than a boat, jet skis. I'd never pulled anything that big.
Right.
Little commercial trailer to haul a lawnmower, but nothing like that.
So
nothing like this.
Can I ask real quick, like back to you and your fiance, what was it that caused you to say we want to get an Airstream? Brand awareness or any kind of like just vision of life that, man, this is such a cool thing. I want to be part of it. Any of that? I
hate to be cliche, but that's kind of the thing. I mean, I don't know if it's green with envy, which, we shouldn't be, or covet what other people have. You can call it whatever you want, but it's kind of like, look at that silver trailer thing and how cool it is. And it's aerodynamic, and I can pull it behind my Toyota 4Runner, and that was it was cute.
Right.
It was cute and fun and easy, and it wasn't a square box going. I hate to say that, but
yeah,
you can actually do stuff with them. And that community, like if we ever went, you're sitting at a gas station and somebody pulls in with an Airstream, is like, that thing is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know if it was really cool. You just thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then her name was Lilo, the first one, and I got Lilo, and everybody's like, oh my God, it was so cool. You couldn't go to a gas station without someone coming over to you and going, can I look inside your Airstream? Little did they know they had to crawl over all my decorations to even look inside.
Yeah.
But
well, and that's even us. I mean, even today,
Mm-hmm.
people still, wherever we park, rest area,
It doesn't matter.
wherever they come up to you.
And you don't get that with any other brand of
No.
RV.
I mean, I've never in a million years thought anything about a square box to walk over there and ask somebody if I could go look inside.
Yeah.
Never.
No.
It's never crossed my mind.
That's cool.
Okay.
So you get your first 19 foot,
Mm-hmm.
and then you set out like you or is it just like weekend warrior kind of stuff back then? Like what was your?
Yeah, so I'm a remote worker. I have been since way before COVID. I've worked from home for years. And it gave me an opportunity to be able to do something on my own. I wasn't dependent on someone having to be with me. I had a couple friends that had, huge Class A's, and they're like the father figures of the world that I really looked up to. And they were teaching me how to deal with a black tank and a gray tank and, put these tire monitors on there and all those basic things that when you get in your car and it just crank it and drive it, you don't really analyze how you got from point A to Costco. You just did it, right?
Yes.
But that's not how that works when you're pulling around this wonderful lifestyle is what I call it, and I don't full time. I mean, I'm probably 9 months out of the year gone, but I still have a home in Georgia, and it just happened that way. And I didn't even look back 1 second.
Yeah.
I brought my rig home and immediately reached out to a girlfriend of mine that owned an upholstery shop. And we started, and it was a 2007 or 2006 19-foot Bambi. There was nothing wrong with it.
Right.
It was in great condition, but it had to have my personality.
Yes. You had to make it yours.
Yeah, I had to make it mine. So literally from top to bottom, started recovering stuff and making curtains and doing all the things, right? And the first place I went was the weekend that I picked it up was 5 miles down the road from Pensacola. I went to Gulf Shores and pulled into the campsite, and I didn't even have tow mirrors on my 4Runner.
Yeah.
And I had never driven anything over 60 miles an hour with hooked to something. And I was on the interstate on the I-10, which is probably the worst interstate in America.
Learned really fast, didn't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was into the deep end with no swim, no swimming.
Yes.
So, I pulled into that little campground in Gulf Shores, and the rest is pretty much history because I learned by fire, fire to how to take care of stuff, and didn't even know silicone could be used in the ways that I've used silicone spray. You don't just put.
Now we are still talking about the Airstream.
Yes, we are.
Right? Okay.
Yes, we
I'm
are.
just making sure.
Yeah. But it's funny because one of the things, and I laugh about this a lot, people are like, when you meet people, they're like, what is it with WD-40?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to put WD-40 on it. We don't use that in the Airstream world.
Lord,
No.
We just don't. It's not the Band-Aid for our world. But, and that I got it home, and it just kept growing. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to decorate. And so I started, I literally now, if I don't decorate outside, people are like, you didn't decorate.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
We're only going to be here 2 nights.
When they walk past your rig, and if you don't have your decor out, it's like, oh, is she leaving? Where's she going?
Wait. I have to have a confession right now. So
I know what she's going to say.
maybe not. So what day did you pull in here?
Sunday.
Oh, was it Sunday? Okay, so last Sunday, Melia pulled in. We happened to be standing out when she pulled in.
When I went by and turned around, yeah.
And she was, talking about what site she might want or whatever. So she opted to do a different site, which was great because, we offered some insight about one that she was headed to. But anyway, so she goes up and she parks or whatever. And so later that evening, Chris and I are out walking. The next morning, Chris and I are out walking, and we're going past her rig on our walk, and she hasn't set up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Chris, she's going to move because she hasn't put all of her stuff out. Now, we didn't know Melia other than seeing her in Shelby, but we
had already had an expectation.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did. Our
already.
expectation was, where's all of her stuff at? You had the cute chair out.
My flamingo chair.
love
was
that
flamingoed
flamingo.
that chair at Silver in the City about 4 years ago.
Really?
Yes, that's the best flamingo gift I have ever gotten.
I
is
love
that chair.
it. I love that chair. Yeah, and so that was the only thing pretty much out. Maybe a little table. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but all your stuff wasn't out, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, something's wrong.
She's not
And I didn't even know you that well, but I knew what you do when you set up your campsite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. I didn't want to get all that stuff out, be gone all day, and then
Right.
the weather showed
Weather.
up. So when I came back Tuesday night, voila.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like I waved my little flamingo wand and everything shows up.
Yes. Yes.
I have one of those, by the way. It was a gift.
A flamingo wand.
A flamingo wand. And it has bubbles.
Oh,
So when you
that's
wave it,
cute.
the bubbles come
yeah.
out. Yes.
Oh, that's cute.
Well,
We'll have to see that.
We were talking about your 19-foot Bambi, but your current rig and the way
Yeah.
that you decorate and set
Oh,
up
and
and
the
stuff
name, we
is
gotta have it.
different, But so like, tell us
So you want
like,
to tell you that story?
yeah,
The
go
transition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go to the
So
next.
my 19-foot Bambi was really small. I mean, floor space might have been 50 square feet, maybe. She was so cute, but I had always, after I knew that this was gonna stick, right? That I was not like, what was I thinking? I started looking for a 23 in my floor plan, and Lilo, my 19, was a 2006 special edition limited series Bambi. So I started looking for a 23, double axles, easier to pull, easier to back up for sure. Those kind of things that are going on, all the things. And then it's the smallest double axle you can get. So I started searching, and this was in 21. So I was in Lebanon at International, and I found one in California that was the same exact floor plan, 2007, the whole 9 yards, right?
And is that rear bathroom?
No.
No, okay.
No, it's a limited series. If you haven't seen it, you need to come look at it because
Yeah.
it's got an L-shaped sofa in the front. There's no dinette.
Wow.
Wow.
It's kind of that hasn't been reworked, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
straight off the line.
Right.
And so I found this, and I could not sleep because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to find another one.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching like the comments and these kind of things. And I literally, by Friday before International was over with, I had already wired a deposit to the guy, had contacted Airstream to figure out who their backhaul company is to get it transported back to Jackson Center so I could have it taken care of the whole 9 yards. I found it. It was a done deal. And everybody's like, you're selling Lilo? And it was like losing a child or an arm.
Yes.
It was,
Yes.
I mean, I'd only had her for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
But 2017 to 2021, so that's
Yeah.
pretty good bit of time. But so then everybody started talking about it. It was like Melia is getting rid of Lilo, and so Jen Olsom, it's a girlfriend of mine that Airstreams, and she's a single solo traveler. Very creative, does a ton of. She makes the buckets, the glow buckets and stuff.
Yeah.
I told Jen, I said, okay, I don't even have my rig here yet, but you better start working on a logo. And she goes, well, what do you want? What do you want? So we started talking through like the feel, because Lilo was more of a boho style.
Right.
And I literally wanted her to have a personality. So Jen comes up with this logo that the back of it looks like an open oyster shell.
Mm-hmm.
And she played off of the silver, right?
Right.
And that is like everything in that rig started with that logo.
Wow.
And the stripe down the side, compliments of International in Maine, 45 mile an hour wind gust, slammed my clam up against the rock guard window.
Oh,
and
no.
I had to use that vinyl strip down the side to do some cosmetic work.
Right.
So that's how that stripe got put on there. Well, I don't,
But it looks awesome.
it looks amazing.
Amazing. Yes, it does.
She has, you see her coming, going, whether there's a BRN on the outside or not, everybody knows who I am. And it
Yes.
all matches. And then I guess it was last year before International in Missouri, I was like, I'm going to run that stripe onto my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to a graphic designer, the colors and everything with the logo. And I sent it over to the vinyl wrap guy in Atlanta, and he goes, this is amazing. He was like, I mean, when you get a graphic artist that's all excited about doing something,
Mm-hmm.
you've done,
Yes.
you got his attention. So that changed. And then I can't not decorate if
Right.
I've got all that other stuff that's already permanently attached.
Yes.
So the big question right now, and it's the big joke, you can call it a question, you can call it a joke, it doesn't matter, but is how I get all of my decorations and stuff in the rig or in the truck or whatever, because I just keep pulling stuff out.
Do you?
Yeah.
So we haven't obviously seen all of her decorations.
The weather hasn't really been very kind this week with the rain. You
been-
saw it at Shelby,
we
right?
saw it in Shelby.
we saw
I
it in
won
Shelby.
first place in Shelby. I don't know if y'all
you
knew
did.
that. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we
That
did.
was a surprise.
We were
That was-
very disappointed. We thought we had it in the bag.
Yeah, with your table. You wanted to win
With
with
your
your
one
table.
table.
Yeah, one table.
I guess food is the key to the judges' hearts. I had,
Oh,
I
is
had
it?
food out. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's cheating. I didn't know that was
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah,
rule.
I didn't even know we were being judged, to be honest.
Yeah.
Found out after.
Wow.
5 minutes to 4.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So
I got an award and everything.
the other thing that is cool, I mean, like, you sit at your campsite and you see people roll in to, they arrive and they're going to go park and stuff like that. And, this particular park we're at is first come, first serve sites. And it's like a loop to where you can just drive around until you find the site you want. And sometimes you have to go past the site, circle around and come back.
Go the wrong way.
Well, it's always fun to sit in your campsite and watch people pull in.
Always.
And every rig's different, obviously. Well, you see Melia come rolling in with hers, and it's all colorful and has the matching truck and the stripe on the trailer like she's talking about. And you see her coming, and that's fun enough. But then as she rolls by and you see the butt of the trailer go by, there's eyelashes on the tail lights.
Yes.
Forgot about those.
And
yeah.
that's just like, it makes you smile because it's like you see this cool rig and it's very unique. And then you look at the butt of it as it goes by, or the shiny hiney.
Shiny,
Yes.
hiney.
And it's got these eyelashes, and it's
Yes.
like, it just makes that much more uniqueness
And
of
you
the rig.
smile and you go, that's one cool chick going right there.
Yeah.
And then I turned around and drove back by y'all again. Then
Yes.
I turned around and drove back by y'all again.
That's
I had to
okay.
make sure I had the right site.
Yes.
And so, what's the name of this rig?
Oh, her name is Gypsy Pearl.
Gypsy Pearl. Very
And
cool.
that just popped out. I mean,
Yeah.
she's shiny like an inside of a pearl, and
I like it.
there's no family name around it or anything. I do. There's the first 4 lines of Miranda Lambert's The Airstream Song is etched on the door, on the inside of the door, and that kind of, between that and the logo, has kind of been my little, I don't know, my mission statement or whatever, as far as
Yeah.
kind of how I'm living, the gypsy lifestyle, I guess,
Why not?
so to speak.
Why not?
For sure.
You only get one chance to do this,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Only one time around the sun.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just fun to see you roll in and it just know, oh, there's Melia. There she comes.
Yeah.
Everybody
the
does.
community alone. I mean, and I've told this story so many times. And after what I went through, and then getting to a point where I was comfortable being alone, and then knowing, hey, I'm not alone.
Right.
And I might not see somebody, but once a year at International. But we pick up right where we
Yes.
left off with this community,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't not love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just can't. And it filled was that Southern or what? Field?
Yeah. That was
Filled-
pretty southern.
Field.
But
We knew
that's
what you
okay.
meant. We knew what
Yeah,
you meant.
you would never know. I'm originally born in 9 years in Honolulu, Hawaii. By that statement,
Oh,
that I
wow.
just field.
That's what Georgia will do to you.
Yeah, it will. It sure will. Alabama's even worse. It filled a void that I was missing with true friends,
Mm-hmm.
where you can't buy it. You couldn't write it down. I never knew what I was in for. And if I stop Airstreaming tomorrow, for reasons beyond my control, I will have memories that last a lifetime
Yes.
because of it.
Yep.
Right.
And it's just everybody. You can't not be happy doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we agree, and that's really one of the main motivations for this podcast, and we've said it numerous times, but everybody has their own unique life experiences that have come from owning an Airstream. And
Yep.
some of it could be the community, some of it could be trips, some of it could be, just unplugging from the world, whatever it is. But
they're all different and unique.
Yeah.
And special.
And the overwhelming theme or consensus that we've been hearing from a lot of people is that when they bought an Airstream and were not aware of the community when they bought it, once they did dive in, they're like, this is worth the price of admission immediately.
Yeah. Yes.
Just that. And we've said this before too, but like, it doesn't have to be Airstream club community. It's just the Airstream lifestyle community.
Right.
Now the club obviously is where the action is, for the most part, and like you dive into your local club or even at a regional level, bigger level, it's the community there is awesome. But just what you said earlier about, you see a silver Airstream and you think it's cool. There's an energy around that visual of the trailer and the awareness of seeing it that alone can connect people.
Right.
If you've got one and somebody else has one, whether you're in the club or not, there's a human bond there that can cause you to make friends. And we've experienced that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I don't think, that might come with, Corvette owners or
Right.
Harley Davidson owners or, things like that, unique brands like that. And I would say Airstream's one of those.
Oh, for sure.
But, yeah, it's unbelievable.
The iconic story, with how Airstream got started and everything, and just going and hanging out with people and going from place to place and enjoying the same common interest and the same things and sitting around a campfire, or they're going to a tour today of a state park that just opened and things like that. You will do that if you're just by yourself, but then being able to do it with people that you enjoy and have the same common interest with, and then if you're lucky, enjoy a meal, or a campfire, or a s'more, or whatever anybody's doing. I mean, there's not a lot of places where you can just walk up to a campfire. If you are an Airstream owner, you're welcome before somebody doesn't have to yell, "Come over and join us."
Right.
Yeah.
You just can go do that.
Yes.
And it's kind of the unwritten rule.
Right. Yeah. And one aspect of that is where we are right now. A lot of people go out and walk in the mornings and stuff, and there's a lot of solo Airstreamers out there.
There's a lot.
I mean, not just here, but I'm talking about
There's a lot.
everywhere.
The community alone, there's a lot.
Yes, a lot of solo. And even the ones that we're walking around here, they're always throwing their hand up. We're throwing our hand up. We end up talking. Sometimes it's down by the trash bin, know. But that's okay.
Praying the bear doesn't jump out at you when you're...
Last time we were here, there was a bear.
There was a bear.
In the bin, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I think that I don't know, because I'm not a solo Airstreamer, but so I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. But I just feel like it's not about traveling alone or with someone. When you pull into a park and you settle in and stuff, you have a community surrounding you, whether if you're solo or a couple, or some people are big families.
Yeah, you're not
spot on.
Yeah, you're
I
not
don't ever
alone.
feel alone, I think is what y'all are getting at.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm traveling solo, even if I'm not at a rally and I'm just going across the country, because I do utilize my rig for work. I'm fortunate enough to work remote. I'm very fortunate to be able to not even have to tell anybody where I'm at. I mean, a lot of times my boss will ask just for safety reasons. I use my rig a lot when I go see clients. In fact, it's been named as the road show officially within the company.
That's cool.
Like, everybody knows I do it.
That's great.
I'll cook a meal and invite a CRO or, somebody from a client out to have Taco Tuesday, which we haven't talked about it, but anybody that knows me knows that's kind of like, I'm a little famous for holding Taco Tuesday at a rally if we're there on a Tuesday.
Great.
How about that?
we put some food out, and y'all
Did
were
we
at
have
Legion.
a Tuesday taco this past Tuesday? Did we have that?
We did. I
Did we
wasn't
miss
here.
it?
I know we missed it.
No,
Oh.
I haven't recovered from that 406 person Region 3 meal that I was responsible for on that Friday. I haven't quite recovered yet from that.
I bet that was huge.
It was
to do.
humongous.
I think it's neat that that you're able to, I mean, obviously work remote, but also utilize your Airstream for work related things.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's neat.
Yeah.
You know, interacting with other colleagues or customers or whatever.
Yep.
I think that's a neat component to traveling in it.
Oh yeah,
I think it's very convenient.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have to get on a plane, and if I'm in a meeting and something happens, and you know, you're constantly looking at your watch because you've got to go catch a flight, and you're trying to not be rude to the client because
that's true.
I don't have to deal with that because I'm there with my Airstream, and I've actually entertained in my little 19 right outside during international in Doswell. My first international I ever went to, I cooked for all the Airstream executives. It was completely on accident.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, and they're still alive, so it didn't kill them.
So it worked out okay.
It worked out okay. Still alive.
That's great. So what type of work do you do, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's fine. I work for a Microsoft partner. I've done that since 2008. I'm a client account executive, so I only deal with existing customers.
So it's a lot of computer type work, maybe Zoom, something like that.
Everything's on Microsoft Teams, all of video calls. I do work on site a good bit where I just visit clients and make sure they're happy and client success and all the things to make sure everybody's happy, because I do that naturally in my normal, that's just the person I am. So it's kind of makes a lot of sense that I get paid to do what I enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you have to have great internet, evidently, to do this. Yeah. And
so when I tell you this, you're going to be like, what? But I actually have the little MiFi through Verizon.
Yeah.
And I just have to be careful where I book a campsite. And then if I'm lucky, I can mooch dock Starlink when I'm at a rally from friends.
Right.
I just suck off their Starlink.
There's
but
nothing wrong
I
with
think
that.
I'm going to break down and buy Starlink. I think I am.
Yeah.
I just made that decision with this. I just started a new job 2 months ago. So
congratulations.
Thank you. And they're actually going to pay for it. So,
well, that's even better.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to get covered under my expenses. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That's great.
But internet at Top of Georgia, I'll just say that. I mean, I didn't even know 6G existed.
Yeah, it is nice up here.
And
over
it is
the
very
top.
nice.
It is over the top. Did
Over
you
the
mean
top.
to say
Look
that?
at him. Toon.
Given the location. Yeah.
He didn't even catch it.
I know.
What are you talking about?
It's over the top.
Top of Georgia.
Oh, I did a good one right there, didn't
Oh
did.
my gosh, you were a little delayed, but you're okay, honey.
Yeah,
A
no.
little slow on the uptake.
Well, given the location we're in from a landscape standpoint,
gosh.
geography standpoint, it's like you would not expect
No,
the
you wouldn't.
internet to be what it is at this location, but it is amazing.
It's smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Well,
like it.
Let's pivot and go back to talking about community type stuff, for a minute. So it sounds like you've been to way more international rallies than we have. We've yet to be.
Well, I mean, one would be way more than us.
Yeah, I know. You've been to a lot of them.
Yeah, I've
and-
been to every international rally since 2018. I started out in Doswell, Virginia.
Great.
Yeah.
And I've been to every one of them. And I've either traveled in a very limited small caravan with friends, or I've just flat done it by myself. So Wyoming, Maine, Missouri, I've been,
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there internationals that you've been to, like you just park in general parking, you don't, or like you try to get with certain group, or what, how's that been for you?
So I've kind of been all over the place. So my first one in Doswell, Virginia, I didn't know a soul. I knew probably 5 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And because and I'm not a person that has to know somebody. I'll just put it that way. So I parked, which was weird, in Vintage Airstream Club parking because of one of the people that I had met at Illumapalooza.
Right.
They were like, if you pay to be a member, then you can park in back parking. And so I did. Little did I know that area that they had quartered off for the Vintage Airstream Club parking was full hookup.
how about
Everybody
that?
else was on a trickle daisy chain,
Yeah.
20 amps, and it was June.
Yeah.
And so I really lucked up being in that area, and it paid off. And then once I started meeting people, I actually volunteered from then on out.
Right.
And so there was early arrival because I volunteered, and so that warranted where you parked. And it was nice because you got there, got set up, and then you went and did whatever your volunteer job was.
Right.
So it worked really well. And so every year I've volunteered until last year in Missouri. I did not volunteer, and it wasn't because I didn't want to. It was because I had gotten injured the year before, and I just didn't know what I was going to be able to do.
Right.
So I was parked in general parking, came in 2 days before the rally started, paid the early money, it was just a normal experience. And then I worked worked my day job, my regular day job the whole time I was there. I barely came out of my camper. But because of where I was parked, all of my people, I'll call them, would come by, hey, we're going so-and-so, do you want to go eat? So then I was able to go, for lunch for an hour or whatever.
That's cool.
That is great.
So it worked out really well. I was in a very nice, I just happened to end up there. It was the pathway to get from point A to point B. Everybody had to walk by my camper. And I like parking in the front, like being the people greeter at Walmart almost. I was waving at people. I didn't feel like I was away from everybody.
Right.
Just because I was having to work. So it was nice.
No, that sounds great.
Yep.
So there's a couple of things that I would like our listener to hear about, if you don't mind sharing it. And it's just because I know the stories. First of all, you travel with pets. And a lot of people travel with pets, but you travel with a service dog,
Yes.
correct? And we've not had someone on here telling their story about service dogs and how that has worked. And that might be helpful for our listener. I'd love for you to share that if you don't mind. Anything you feel comfortable sharing.
It's fine.
And then there's a story, and you might have heard her mention a few minutes ago about being injured. And there is a story that I think just reiterates the positivity that we receive from the Airstream community, from being members and being, putting ourselves out there. So I would love for you to share that.
Okay.
If you don't
I'll
mind.
be happy to. So, Carlton is my miniature Australian Shepherd. If you see me, he's like my little shadow. I'm diabetic, and I had some pretty serious issues a couple years into Airstreaming where it was either get a dog or you weren't going to be able to drive.
Wow.
I do travel alone, as we've discussed, and that was not an option. And I was fortunate enough, timing is everything, to be able to, because of his age, was able to have him trained. And with me being diabetic, he senses my blood sugar, whether it peaks or dips. And he senses it before a G6 goes off, a Libre, any of the medical equipment that you would be normally issued through your doctor.
Yes. And we're familiar with that because my mother's diabetic and she does the Libre thing. And when it goes off, I mean, it's up there or way low by the time it goes off.
So I'll give you a real time example on how priceless he is. And he's laying at my feet for the people that just at home.
Yes, he is. He's
right at my feet.
here. He's so cute.
He's the first canine guest on the Riveted with Chris and Gina so far.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
He is. Yes.
Yeah, his name's Carlton. He's a good little boy. But I'll give you a real example. We were at Region 3 this year, and I did not know that I've always thought that he was just tuned into me, which, if you think about it, doesn't really make that much sense. But I thought it was just me. And, a lot of people are like, oh, I know he's a service dog, but can I pet him anyway?
This is how people read their signs, because literally on his jacket, it says, please do not pet me.
Yeah, it does. He's got a vest on and it says, don't pet me. And it says, I'm a service dog.
Yes.
And we were sitting in a room with 400 people at opening ceremonies for Region 3. Bob Ely is up on stage, and a whole entire 8-person table row over from me was an individual, and I'm not going to name her,
Right.
but she was sitting, and there was a section between us.
Right.
Carlton was going bonkers. I mean, he was out of his skin. He would not stop barking. He was alerting, but it wasn't to me. He was on my lead. He was on his lead,
Yeah.
so he couldn't get to this individual.
Yeah.
And finally, I just unclipped him because it was.
It's like
I was like, "What is going on?"
Like he sees something.
So I unclipped him, and he went to this person, which I know her very well, and did his little yip, did his little spin, and sat down on her feet, which is what he does to me when he's signaling.
So you knew what that meant.
I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And so I pick up my phone and I text this person, and I'm like, "Check your sugar." And her sugar, her Libre had not even gone off yet, or G7 or whatever it is. It had not even alerted yet. And by the time he got there, did what he did, she pulled it up on her phone and all that. It was reading 840.
Whoa!
Holy crap!
And
whoa, that'll put you in a coma.
Yeah. And so because of that, I was like, oh, he signals off other people as well. But for people that don't realize how service dogs work, they get desensitized with people petting them and they lose their focus. So just, normal, oh, can I pet him? I know he's a service dog. He's working. It's just like if I'm in the camper and I have a do not disturb sign out front, or you guys we're on air.
Yes.
He's working.
Right.
And as cute as he is, because he is cute.
He is cute.
And I appreciate that y'all think he's cute, but he is working, and it's hard for him to focus on his job when you're petting him.
Well, yeah, because then he's just like men, when you start giving them that attention, they just don't know how to, to not
they
respond
don't know what to do
that.
with that.
Funny time.
Yeah. Sorry, you're a little outnumbered. Well, he's not really. It's kind of even in here,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
On two. You're evened up right now, Chris.
That's good.
Just joking.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Well, that's
all
just
in fun.
joking.
That is an awesome aspect
All
of
these men are going to start sending me
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah. Well, I think it's obviously he's there for your support when needed, primarily in a life companion and the whole 9 yards. But it is neat that when you're in a group environment like that, he could possibly benefit someone else.
I didn't think that was very surprising.
Yes.
That was very surprising.
Well, I hope that she was very thankful for that. Because
she was.
That,
we learned something that day. It was very.
Now, did she know she was diabetic?
Oh, yeah. She
okay,
knew.
so she did. So,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Why?
But it was
Her
way
thing had-
before her monitor went off.
But that's
But it's
crazy.
probably, I mean, like in a big group event like that, you may not want to excuse yourself, or you don't want to,
or you're not
miss
thinking
something.
about it. You don't, you might be focused on something else, and you're not really paying attention to what your body's trying to tell you at that time. And that brought her attention around. So that's a great thing. But
it was really good.
he has saved your life too, has he not?
He has.
Yes.
Yeah. I shared a little bit of the story with you, but I lost my dad in August of 2023.
Okay.
And I had signed up for a rally with the Razorbacks group of women. It's a women's only rally that they've done for years. A lot of those women don't pull, but so their husbands will take their rigs to this state park in Hot Springs, drop them off with the trailers, and then they leave and go get on a houseboat or go back to home or do whatever they do. But this is the first year that I've been able to do that, or that was the first year I was able to do that with them. And I wasn't going to go because I had lost my dad, and it was only 3 weeks after I had lost him. And everybody's like, Melia, you should go and just, unwind, relax, decompress, just do nothing. Because it's actually a spa weekend. So it's in Hot Springs, Arkansas. You go to the hot springs, you go get a facial.
When is the next one?
I know. It's in September. So
Could they possibly have one token male and
no, they don't. And you would be shocked at the people that have tried.
Oh man,
So
that sounds awesome.
You could be the sacrificial man.
Yeah.
I'd like to go. Yeah.
yeah. So I was, they were like, no, come anyway. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go. So I had already come home from International. We were in Wyoming, And on the way home, I got detoured because my dad was ill. And I never left seeing him because it just went really south really quick. Mm-hmm. But I finally went home, and I'd been home 3 days, and they were like, just pack the trailer up and go. Mm-hmm. So I went, and a girlfriend of mine, Jen Olson, a lot of people know her. She runs she runs the arts and crafts committee for International every year. Okay. So she hasn't even gotten home yet. Right. And from International. And I'm like, where are you? And she's a single solo traveler. She lost her husband 2 years before that. And she's like, what are you up to? She knew something was going on. And I told her, and she's like, well, I'm in Oklahoma. And I'm like, make a reservation. You're going. So we meet up there.
Great.
And we get there on Monday afternoon. Check-in is at 4 p.m., which I didn't really think about check-in being that late, but that is really late.
It is late.
When you're trying to get your campsite set up. Right. Well,
especially when happy hour started at 3.
I know. I was going to say happy hour started at 4:30, and we got there at 4. And anyway, so there's a bunch of women that are there that I've known for years because I volunteer with the Razorbacks during International. They run the membership check-in when you get there.
Okay.
So I get there, everything's fine. Next thing I know, Jen's knocking on the outside door of Gypsy. And she's standing there with a chocolate mayonnaise, like a Duke's mayonnaise chocolate cake. She's famous for making them. And it was my birthday. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. This is cool. I'm glad you came. Glad I invited you. Because that was like bonus, getting this chocolate cake. So we all sat around and ate cake. That was it. We all went to bed like normal people. Mm-hmm. I got up the next morning to get my little 2-mile walk in with Carlton. And we go walk for 2 miles. Everybody's kind of moving around. It's like a little before 7.
Yeah.
Everybody's making breakfast or doing whatever. Some of the men
you were up before 7?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm up early at 5 o'clock every morning, 5:30, even when I camp. Okay. It's the best time of the day.
Yeah, Gina, she said she was fine with doing like a 7 a.m. recording this morning. And I was like, no, we got to.
They both looked at me like 7 a.m.
We need to push a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And, 3 hours later.
Chris's brain doesn't wake up until after 8.
Yeah. So, I got my 2-mile walk in, and some of the husbands are still there. Because the rally isn't going to start until Thursday.
Okay.
And so I walked past my really good friends that I had spent the weekend with. Mm-hmm. Like I laid over at their place, and then we all went in to the park together. Right. And Carlton and I walked by and waved, and they hollered about, we're going to have breakfast in about 45 minutes. I was like, okay, cool. I opened the door to the screen door to the rig. Carlton jumps in. I put food in his bowl, and I turn around and shut the door. And pretty much after that, I don't remember anything. The slot on the door, which is pretty important that I'm saying that, the little slide on the door, the slot's what I call it, is open. And all I remember is when I went to turn around, I don't remember anything after that. And I went face down.
Wow.
Right there in the state park, and I was out cold. Carlton goes through the slot. Now, let me back up for 1 second because it's really important. He's barking at me, but we have this routine in the mornings where it's time to eat breakfast when we get back to the campsite. It's kind of like when you're pulling in at your house. It's like the dog's barking because they know they're at home. We were walking, so I really wasn't paying that much attention. Mm-hmm. He was trying to tell me that my sugar was dropping, and I just made him get in the camper and dump food in his bowl. So I want to make sure everybody realizes that he was doing his job.
Right.
I went face down. He jumps through the slot and runs to the campsite next door. Now, I am out cold, face down. Don't know any of this is happening. This is all everybody else is telling me.
Right.
And he runs to the campsite. They're outside. He runs back to me. Runs to the campsite, runs back to me. And this is a state park. There's nothing about this campground anywhere that's level. It's very rocky. They don't clean, it's just what it is, right? Very rustic. Mm-hmm. And we are figuring that 8 to 10 minutes worth of me being passed out and not knowing what's going on before they started going, wait a minute, Carlton, he's not off lead and he won't leave her. something's not right. So they get up from cooking breakfast and they turn the corner and they see me laying face down in my sight. So, of course, everybody starts running. And we know all this little section, you know, when you book for a rally, you're all in the same loop. I'll call it a loop. And so then I'm still unconscious. So everybody shows up. I finally come to within minutes, and I have shattered my right leg.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
And
What, from falling off the step?
No, my blood sugar, we know this now,
Yeah.
but my blood sugar dropped to 30
Wow.
because when I finally got to the ER,
Yes.
it was not good.
Yeah.
And we are assuming that I stepped wrong on some unlevel ground, and that's what caused me to lose my balance. And then it broke my fibula in 2 places.
Wow.
And tore my Achilles. And then and at the time I didn't know it until after, but I also that was my right leg. I also broke my left foot.
Good gracious.
And so both legs were pretty messed up. Wow. So he did his job, and then it took us, you know, I don't know, 30 minutes for us to get our wits about us to figure out what needs to happen next. And, you know, no one called 911, which I
think that's amazing that no one, that'd been the first call I made.
All the time that I was laying on the ground, nobody called 911. And then when I finally got clarity on what had happened, because I was in shock.
Yeah.
You know, the camp host showed up there, and everybody Airstream related was right there with me. And then I was like, can someone just go get Jen? Because she's just one of those get it done kind of people.
Right.
And I think everybody was in so much shock, and I'm going to leave out the details of the damage to my leg. But,
if it's gory, I won't. I'm teasing. Somebody on here would not want to hear that. But yes.
But the thing about it is, and we've changed a lot of things about the way we camp, because we were 26 miles from a local hospital.
Oh, yeah.
So there was some Googling going on in a place that didn't have good internet. So our unit now has an emergency sheet that is filled out by the rally host prior to us rallying, because everybody knew what to do. It was who's going to do it. What are we going to do? It was all the things, right?
The implementation of the plan.
Yeah, like let's execute, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so even their camp host didn't know it. The camp host that had nothing to do with us, like the state park camp host,
didn't know what to
his phone, he couldn't even call anybody from his phone. And I'm like, Jen, just take me. I'm 26 miles away. We've been sitting here. But it was the way the community embraced that situation. It still brings tears to my eyes, because that was the first time I felt like a single solo traveler, because I didn't have a spouse or a partner or somebody that went camping with me that weekend to like go get in the truck, you know.
Yeah.
I had to depend on somebody else. And as a single female, it's hard to ask for help, especially in this day and age.
Yes. I agree.
And I hate to be so blunt, but it's true. And then the way the decisions were made to get me taken care of, once we made the decision that we weren't calling 911, and everybody had a job.
Right.
It was like, you guys pack up a rig, because we knew I wasn't going to be able to stay. It was going to be, I was going to have to get home. And so people were packing up my rig. Thank goodness I had not put out any decorations yet.
That's you just gotten there the night
that's
before,
a big joke.
right?
Oh yeah, that was a big joke. Thank God she had not unpacked. I wasn't even unhooked from my trailer yet.
Oh,
unhooked. I was not even. No, we hadn't done any of that. And so I went to the ER. It was a wonderful experience. I mean, if I was going to have to go somewhere, it would be in Hottie Springs, Arkansas.
They did a great job.
The ER. They did a great job. But the amount of people that surrounded me after the fact, when we figured out logistically what needed to happen, because I had to get all the way back to Atlanta.
Right.
And I didn't have a spouse to drive. And I didn't have, all the things. And so then we had to get to work. So this was real important to me when I was talking to y'all and sharing this story about community. you always know who your friends are, or you think you know who your friends are. This community kind of comes without saying. I think we've very much gotten that point across today. But the commitment to get me home in one piece, to be able to be at the surgeon's office on the time and the day that he said I had to be there. And we were 12 long driving hours with me being cast up to my hip. And it was a surgical cast. It wasn't a full-on cast because I was still so swollen. I could not fly. I was not able to fly. We reached out to a couple of really close friends, people that are Airstream friends, that were willing to fly to Arkansas.
Right.
It gives me chill bumps to talk about it. They were going to get on a plane and fly there and then drive myself, Carlton, and the rig and truck back. No questions asked.
Right.
Didn't even have to ask. It was like, what do you need me to do? And that was that when we were just chit-chatting about it earlier in the week, that was the message that you get. That was what you get with this community that you don't know you're getting. It's the bonus. It's the gravy on top. It's the cherry. It's whatever you want to, whipped cream. You can call it whatever you want.
Right.
But that was the thing that I did not know I was getting. And the couple that drove 5 hours from Hot Springs, Arkansas to Tupelo, Mississippi, one way to get me to the next drop point.
Right.
For another Airstream couple to then, I'm going to try to do this without getting emotional.
No, it's okay.
But Pam and Ronnie Belk were some of the first people that I met.
Yeah.
Airstreaming. On accident in a campground in Jackson Center, Ohio. And he backed in Lilo for me in 2018. And then we fast forward to 2023. And they're driving me 5 hours one way just to get me to the next drop point.
Right.
No questions asked. I mean, it was not even discussed. It was like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then a couple that I've known for 5 years, Russ and Tana Flanagan, live in Oxford, Alabama. They drove from Oxford, Alabama to Tupelo, Mississippi to a Walmart parking lot one way. And then they had to transfer me into the back seat of her SUV because the logistics that people didn't understand was like, you couldn't just shove me in the front seat of a Subaru.
Right.
Because of this leg being in this cast. And my dog. And, and one person couldn't come. Two had to come. Because somebody had to be able to pull the truck and trailer. And then the other person had to be able to drive their own vehicle with me in the back seat. And I would not fit in just a little bitty Highlander.
Right.
It was really, the logistics were insane. And then they drove back. Then they turned around and drove me back to Oxford, Alabama, which is pretty much podunk nowhere, to a Walmart parking lot, and then had to transfer me to another couple that came with no questions asked. What time do we need to be there? And that's it, right? And
to get you back home to Georgia.
To get me home to Georgia.
Yeah,
and I had a timeline.
Right.
So it wasn't like I can't do it till so-and-so. No,
it's got to do it now.
I had to be at the doctor on Friday morning at the surgeon's office. And it was twofold. One, he had to see me. And then because of the way the brakes were, I could not, they had to check circulation, make sure that make sure I wasn't having, circulation cut off. I wasn't going to, I could have lost my foot, things like that. And then the next morning, having to take me to this, I couldn't walk.
Right.
And I was carried up 13 stairs and then brought back down the next morning. And it was all Airstream people. There was a pop-up surprise rally in my yard one weekend.
Way to go, Airstreamers.
Oh, it's just,
that's amazing.
Phone calls. I did not go. People were like, Melia, it's like COVID all over again. And I'm like, no, not really. Everybody else was out camping.
Everybody can do something but me.
Yeah. And I couldn't put my foot down for 6 months.
Wow. 6 months. That's a long time.
And I didn't get to camp. Well, let me rephrase. I did camp.
In your yard?
In my yard.
Yeah.
They carried me downstairs and I camped in my yard. My Gypsy was in my yard and I stayed in Gypsy. There was a time where I was in Gypsy not by choice.
Yeah.
because I couldn't get up and down the stairs. So it was just
Right.
easier for me to be able to just be in Gypsy.
Yeah, why not?
Bathroom was right there.
Everything's much closer and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
But it was amazing. And the community, I mean, the phone calls and the amount of cards and plants and people visits and just for my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign. When you go and you join Airstream, ACI or Wally Bime Airstream Club, whatever you want to call it, and you join this community and you join, whether you do join or you don't join, right? It doesn't matter. I did not know what I was getting when I bought that rig. I had no clue. And it's such a wonderful surprise. It makes my heart happy. And if you're not happy, then you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
Because you kind of don't have a choice. We'll make you be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it could have been really simple for someone to say, well, let's call 911. They'll help her out and then forget about it.
oh yeah,
But they didn't, obviously. And it wasn't just the extent of getting you help in the moment. You continually had help for months and
Yeah.
months. And that is, I mean, that's unheard of.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
just
is.
beautiful.
And I got two things on my mind listening to that story. One obviously is I think back to a big RV rally we went to in 2020 out west, and it was before COVID, but it was right before COVID. And there was a guy that started feeling ill at the rally and ended up having to go to the hospital. And the word started spreading through the rally that they put him in ICU.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the last we heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Nope.
I don't know that
No-
anybody went other
Nope.
than his
It was
immediate
just
family.
him and his wife. And it was like he
Aw.
was in the rally one minute, and then the next minute he was not. And, it was, they were sequestered at the hospital, and they didn't have any support like you're describing. And now this was not an Airstream only
No, it
event.
was
It
not.
was just an RV rally. And it was good size. There was probably 100 rigs there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it may just be that it kind of got lost in the shuffle, so to speak, but there was still like not
I don't feel like the community was
community
as strong.
support.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
And
It was definitely something that I was not expecting.
yeah. And the other part is like having that resource there for you. You went through a tough injury, and obviously people's human nature just wants to be supportive and be helpful. But I don't see how anybody could not love you when they meet you. So
That's so sweet.
But
That
it's
was
true.
sweet.
It
It
is. I
is.
mean, it's
I
just
am
like
not holding a gun to his head.
you're just one of those people that when you stand out in a crowd, and when you start having conversations and getting to know you, how could anybody not want to
Well, you have that
dive in and help?
You have that magnetic energy, and it's
yeah.
free flowing, and I love it.
And it's a wonderful story, and just wonderful.
I'm sorry you had to
overall.
go through it though.
Yeah, but again, this podcast is about the experiences you've had in life after you've had an Airstream added to it, and you've had awesome experiences. You've had a tough experience with the injury, but it all still comes back to positive because of how that shaped out inside of the community that helped you. And had you not chosen to add an Airstream to your life in 2017, all of the fun things that you've done, the places you've gone, the rallies you've gone to, the people you've met, the locations you've visited, everything, you wouldn't have had that.
Right. Yeah, you're
And
exactly right.
and that's so your life obviously has been enhanced by
Oh, absolutely.
and that's
Tenfold at least.
yeah.
And continues to
Oh, yeah.
because she's met us
Now I've
now.
met y'all.
Absolutely.
Now I've met y'all. It just went up a whole notch.
That
There
is
you
a
go.
game changer for sure.
Phew, we were working hard on that one, weren't we, Dave?
Well, we've been chatting it up now for over an hour, and time just flies when you're having fun. But
It does.
we can't thank you enough for giving us a little time and sharing your thoughts and your experiences, because yours are really unique. I can't wait to to have our listeners see some pictures of your rig
Yes.
and all that cool
And
stuff.
your setup.
Yeah.
My
so
setup.
so we
I love it.
we'll put those out on the socials, and I can't wait to hang out with you again in the future.
Yep, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. It was fun. I'm glad that I could sit and talk with y'all for a little bit, and it's we're very fortunate to live the life we're living.
Mm-hmm.
We
We
really
are.
are.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
we
Are you
agree
going to
with
be
that
at international?
You know, I wasn't going because I had not worked for like 9 months, and I changed my mind and I just booked.
Yeah, that's good.
Yay!
So
Awesome.
I'm going to be there. I've
Yeah.
already been to so many. How can I not go to the next
I
one?
Yeah, I
know.
know.
I know.
So,
Well,
but
we're-
I just had to wait to make sure I was being fiscally responsible to myself because I don't
Yes.
have
Yeah.
a Chris to tell me no.
Yes. I like how you said that. Yes.
She knows
See,
us.
listener, she knows him so well
She
already.
knows me already.
Yes. You have to turn those. You know what no means, right?
Yeah. Uh-uh.
It's yes in disguise.
Yes in disguise.
You just have to, you just have to bring them around
Bring
to
them around,
show
talk
them the
them into it,
light.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
A no
Twist
just
their arm.
a no just means not yet. A yes,
Not
not,
yet.
right now. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine.
Well,
All
thank
right.
y'all for having me. I
You're
appreciate
quite
it.
welcome.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's
Thank
fun.
you.
We
Thank
will.
you.
We'll see.
And Carlton has been amazing. He's actually,
He's
I
trying
had
to
to
be
lean
by
over
you.
to look, but yeah, he's real close to me. I have a little table in front of me, but he's real close to me. But he had his little paw on my foot a minute ago, and I've been rubbing his little
Yeah.
paw. Yeah, he's so cute.
He's a good dog.
He is. We'll take pictures, listener, and show you what we're talking about. But Melia, thank you again
y'all.
for being part of the Riveted
Yep.
with Chris and
Thanks
Gina.
for having me.
We'll see
Thank
you down
you.
the road.
We'll
See
see
you down the road.
Absolutely. That was a lot of fun today. It was kind of cool having our first non-human guest in.
Yeah, you're talking about her dog, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I'm not talking about Melia.
Right.
She's amazing.
Yes, she is.
Yes. That did sound funny, didn't it?
Yeah, I knew what you were talking about.
We
Let's-
love you, Melia.
Yeah. All right. Well, listener, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to leave you with it on this one with a quick word about our Patreon page, and hope you come back and listen to future episodes. We'll see you down the road. All right.
We'll see ya.
I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Patreon and how you can help support the Riveted with Chris and Gina podcast. Patreon is a simple, interactive way to support the people who make the content you love. There's no value that can be assigned, so you can enjoy these inspiring stories of Airstream enthusiasts from all quarters of the USA. But there are associated costs with operating the website and hosting the podcast, in addition to the large amount of time it takes to curate and edit each weekly episode. For as little as $5 a month, the equivalent of a cup of coffee or a beer, you can help the Riveted with Chris and Gina become the podcast of the Airstream community. Becoming a patron also means you will get first-to-know details, free merch, invites to special Zoom-based hangouts, and more. The link to Patreon is in this episode description. Thanks in advance for your support and love. See you down the road.